And we are
Got it.
recording on uh technically it's Kosovo cast, but I think it will be changed to bunker cast, and that we are four white men and we are the epitome of everything that is evil in this world. And Jim is correct. They have replaced Greta Thunberg. When I first saw that they replaced her, I thought it was because I think they replaced her with like a more progressive and woke version, aka not a white girl. But I'm
No,
becoming
she
more
is. No, 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 no. She's totally just a hot throbbing chick.
who the replacement.
Yeah,
Have they
Okay,
yeah. She's
trotted
a
her out?
let me
yeah,
find
yeah,
out
yeah,
who it
yeah.
is.
She yeah, she's you'd like to date her. I mean, they
I
they
haven't seen
they
her.
went for well,
Greta
apparently
replacement. No, it's
yeah.
if I pull Google autocorrects the Great Replacement conspiracy theory. Right.
Yeah.
Who is the replacement to her?
I
Greta
can't remember her
Thunberg.
name.
Yeah.
I
Well, I
haven't
don't know
seen her
who it
yet
is,
because I
but I'm
really
sure
try
it's
not to follow any of that.
I'm sure it's some equally retarded propaganda poster child. I don't know if you guys saw last night about and I think it's been making the rounds now, but I saw it and it's kind of terrifying. Is that that drone simulation they did where the
Yeah,
AI turned on the operator?
Yeah.
yeah.
Dave, do you
What
know
happened?
this?
I
They
didn't
did
see
This is
this.
on Zero Hedge this afternoon.
yeah,
Go ahead and somebody explain it.
Air Force.
Okay,
I'd say that
okay, guys, guys.
the drone had excellent judgment.
No, me too. The military Air Force did a
A
simulation
terrible
of
taste.
a drone strike of a drone being operated by a drone operator. Obviously, the AI doesn't know what's real world and what's a simulation. It's just AI. So it's flying around as a Reaper or something, and operators telling it these are your targets, X, Y, and Z, blah blah blah. And for every target kill you get a point, and that is a point towards a better score of achieving your objective. And every once in a while, the operator would say, "Okay, you can't take out that target." Because it's like in a school or at a wedding or something. But because of that, all the drone saw was I can't get another point. So finally, the drone realized that the operator was standing in the way of its goal. So it removed
Getting points.
simulated, shot like a Hellfire missile at the operator booth, killed the operator, and then went and got all of its perfect score, massacring everyone.
That's fantastic.
It is so predictable.
Did the
That's
drone? Did the drone
It's like
ask if
they
Wait a minute.
programmed the drone to be Gen
Whose
Z.
drone was it now? That was a Ukrainian derived from the US drone?
No, 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 no. This is a U.S. Air Force simulation. This was all simulated.
But
Oh,
did the drone
okay.
ask if it got those
I
extra
put
points?
Greta's replacement underneath my tweet. So if you want to go check Greta's replacement, just go to my top tweet, go down, and I answered my top tweet, or it might be my top tweet. And you'll see Greta Thunberg's replacement.
So, I mean, and then I think the military
Yeah,
would
that's
just,
not Greta Thunberg.
That
but,
is not Greta Thunberg.
but
Yeah, no,
I'm trying to figure out what they saw in her.
straight out of
It's just
Pornhub, guys. Like straight out of
I
OnlyFans.
know, I
all
know,
right, all right,
totally.
hold on.
Everything looks
Straight
authentic
out
there
of
too, doesn't it?
straight out of OnlyFans
Unbe-
simple casting.
It's unbelievable.
You said Greta's replacement?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
That's usually reserved for the part of Twitter that never shows up on my feed.
shameless. It's shameless. I
Now
mean,
hold
it's
on.
just,
Now, wait,
truly.
no, hold on. Who is this?
I don't
And
need to know.
no,
The
no, I
name
need to
is
know.
not
I just know
important.
that the scenery improved.
No, I need to know
Massively.
I need to fucking know how old this person is so we all don't get baited.
It's
All
true.
right.
No,
We are in the
There's
wake of
that.
Epstein. I want to know how fucking old this person, because otherwise I don't want anything to do with this. And I want to get back to cheery subjects like drones killing the world.
You're getting old. She's over 18.
Okay. Hey man, I'm 32. There's not old. There is
My point being is
there's
if you
fuck me in
were
the ass prison and freedom.
if you were 18, you'd recognize she was 18.
That's a good point.
But now you're 32, so they all look
I'm
like
an
you have 8
old
years.
man now. Yeah, now they all look like waterhead
right.
retards pushing a
I
green
think she's
goods
more like a
agenda.
38D.
Yeah. Hey, boob
I don't
joke.
know. I still haven't
As
seen her
old,
face.
and that
I
dates
still
us all
haven't seen
because
her
they have a
face
whole new
yet.
scale now, Jim. And
I
that's like a
haven't seen her
J cup or
face
something.
yet. I'm still working from the bottom up.
But isn't that kind of fucking hilarious that they booted Greta?
Right.
Well,
How
Now
dare
she's a,
you.
now she's a pro nuker. Now she's a pro nuker.
did they boot her or are they just ignoring her?
Well, it's
They-
the same thing,
They're just ghosting her.
Yeah.
right? It's the narrative has
Served
changed.
her purpose.
Well, she's already a celebrity. It's like not like they're gonna cancel her.
Well, my
being,
theory is she's
an
gonna
icon.
marry David Hogg.
Oh my
Well,
god.
I wish them the best.
Oh my
Yes.
god. This is
Yes.
Chinless children.
Jesus Christ. Chinless children. Their child is going to
Can
either
you
take
imagine the AI mock-up? Somebody should do that. Somebody should please get
David
us
Hogg.
AI art of a child of David Hogg and Greta
Greta
Thunberg
Thunberg.
in the
Yeah.
style of, I don't know, Matisse or something. Just just make sure no chin.
Picasso.
Picasso.
It'll end up looking like a circuit board.
Guernica 2.0.
I think we might actually need this, because if children rebel against their parents, what we might need to do is distill this into a child, and then that child will be the savior of the West.
Mm.
If it rebels against everything that is David Hogg and Greta Thunberg, it might be like the most base politician who've ever lived.
Maybe.
Mm.
Maybe.
I don't know where to take that, but there it is.
Yeah, I'm not
I
touching that
know.
one.
I
At this
know.
point, I'm not touching that with Tommy's dick. I'm just
We're
no
not
way.
playing T-ball anymore, are we?
All right, well, fuck me. All right. I mean, all right. This is what I bring up. I try to start.
It's time to
conversation.
drone you, Tommy.
It is time.
Yeah.
Mate.
Yeah.
I mean, so, but okay, back to that then.
Hey, wait a minute. Well, back to that. You guys, I don't think you guys heard what I asked a while ago. After the drone turned and killed the guy who was operating it, did it ask where its extra points were?
No, it
You
well,
get, you
it
get
has
credits at it. Gets credits at Amazon.
no, it's no. Well, it has this whole like target deck. It has this preloaded target deck, and so
Well, there was the AI one where the guy starts talking to the AI chick, and she starts trying to get him to dump his wife.
huh?
And then there was one on Twitter that supposedly went full Nazi.
Well, they all do. That's the most hilarious thing.
So what
They're
is that? Why would
sociopaths? So they adopt the
so
they
why
adopt
would
the ideology
AI
of
go
sociopath.
dark? Why would it always head
Maybe
to
it's worse than we
darkness?
think.
I think it's
know.
that.
know.
I think it's far more ruthless than anything we can imagine.
Well, I
Yeah.
still don't buy the idea that civilization's going to be destroyed by it, but it's troubling. I don't like the idea of not knowing if anything is real at this point.
I can't get away from the idea that the whole thing depends on the incredibly fragile electric grid and the
Right.
prospect that it's not going to be working regularly in, a few years from now.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know why the AI mavens never discuss that or never take that into account. It's not in the conversation.
it's probably
Because they're selling NVIDIA chips right now, and that's all they care
Yeah.
about.
That's
But,
exactly right.
More to the point, it doesn't require an electromagnetic pulse from a foreign power or, anything, or, a burst of solar energy from the sun to take out the grid. You could just have a lot of pissed off people taking out relays with deer rifles all over the country.
Yeah.
Or it could be like in Germany where you close your last nuke, you get your pipeline blown up, and then you outlaw gas and oil.
Well, I think
What do you got
well-
left? And so my theory on that is that the Germans are going to be importing blocks of peat from the Druids.
or they're going to start
Yeah,
burning.
that'll
people.
last
Jesus,
about a
don't-
month.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Oh my
I
God.
know.
Please don't, please. No. Yeah, no, yeah, blocks of peat. I'm flashing back to playing a game that just came out last year, modeling the city of Findorf, gradual replacement of peat to coal. How they built
Right.
again? No, seriously, yeah,
No, we're going
that's
backwards.
where we
though.
are.
And
Let's go back.
and
Let's
you
go
get
back to the
bonus
19th century.
you get bonus points if you get a Druid priest out of the bog.
That's right.
Well, I mean, how long until Germany just reverts back to burning undesirables?
That
That's
was
what they're
last
gonna do.
week. That was last week. That was it.
I mean, that was their problem. If they just reinstated the death camps and then turned.
Oh God, don't go there.
Well,
Don't
no,
go
I'm thinking
there.
about no. Think about it. Think of if white people are the problem, which is what they always say. They already have a history of doing this with white people. So why wouldn't they do it again with just like white conservative males, but then attach the crematoria to like a steam turbine or something?
Right.
Yeah.
Jim's our anti-Semitic policy. It's an
Yeah.
insurance policy. We
It is.
Jim
I don't
cover.
much give a shit about that, really.
Well, you're Jewish though, so
I am.
you-
No, well, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I don't give a shit
If
if
Tommy
people,
goes anti-Semitic, he's a fork in a microwave. He's gonna get zapped.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Oh, did you see what just showed up on Twitter?
What?
No.
Oh, underneath someone did it. You called out for you. Someone
No
posted a Greta Thunberg. Oh my God! You should see
Wait.
it.
Wait. In the
I don't.
replies
Oh, I
here-
got to refresh it.
Yeah, where?
It's I posted a foursome with Tommy's. Where the hell is it? I
Oh,
posted
okay.
a foursome with
Yeah.
Tommy's. No, and then where the hell did it go? It was
Where'd it
just
go?
there a minute ago.
I don't see it.
I don't see shit.
I see the
Okay.
Tesla of wallets.
Okay, it's in response. It's in response to my tweet of Greta's replacement.
Just
I'll tell you what. I'll do a retweet.
I was about to say
I can
retweet it.
feel. I can feel my career just oozing through my
Oh
fingers.
my
at this
God.
point.
Greta has the technology.
Stop
Oh.
calling out for guys to do AI shit. We got a ban. We don't need any more memes. We're gonna.
Jesus
This
Christ
is
in heaven.
massive. Holy moly! And there's a Peppy. There's
How
a
evil does that thing look? Like,
There's a Peppy
That
the
is the
frog.
face of the end of the world, man.
That's Peppy the frog. Holy
just-
shit!
It's just big titted autistic Down syndrome Greta with Pepe on her nips. Jesus Christ.
You're selling.
I'm
it
not seeing
now.
any of that. I
Maybe
keep on
we've pushed
refreshing
too
your
far.
Twitter feed, and it ain't
I
coming up.
retweeted it. So if you look at my Twitter
Maybe
feed,
these
you ought to see
podcasts
it as
should
my
stop.
most recent.
Maybe we have gone too far.
Well,
Maybe we've pushed up
they'll stop us soon. I
uh,
did a retweet on it, so it really should
Oh
show
dear.
up.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that's
Yeah.
not that's not Greta with David Hogg. So who called for that? You
yeah,
called
no,
for
that was absolutely that was David. Those are David Hogg's eyes, dude. Without
No,
doubt.
those are David Hogg's
Hogg's
breasts.
tits. Those are
That's
David
true.
Hogg's tits.
Dubes, yes.
Well, that's
All
just a cartoon of Greta,
Oh man.
with
I
the
know.
I don't see David
Stop-
Hogg in
made
that.
up features.
Maybe
shall we say.
the chin, maybe a little bit of the chin.
I'm sure
Absolutely.
whoever posted
They
it
have
is
such
happy,
a similar
is
facial
happy
structure
that
that
it,
it's not going to be hard.
Jesus Christ.
But the evil there is so like it's just
I think Carrie Hellborn just went fishing and found that fast.
maybe
Jesus Christ.
hilarious.
Well,
mean-
you know what a lot of this chatter says to me is that that whole WEF Greta Thunberg bullshit story is just falling apart.
Hey, did you see that?
Does
there's
anybody
a
believe
No,
it
no, you're
anymore?
right, Jim.
there's a whole bunch of headlines, a montage of headlines out there saying that green plants are bad for the climate change problem.
Oh yeah,
Interesting.
Did you see
right.
that? No,
They're
no,
probably
here's
re-
their argument. Let me give you their argument.
they're homophobic.
No, yeah, that too. Green plants bring in CO2, but they only use about 70% of it. So they're putting out about 30% CO2 that they are unable to use. Therefore, the more green plants, the more CO2. That is their argument.
Well, we need to get some GMO in there and
Well,
engineer those,
What
re-engineer
you
those
finally
plants.
start to
Stop.
realize is this is nothing about going green. What this is a hatred for everything that is organic. It truly is. I mean, at like a deeply spiritual, philosophical level, there's a reason that we're moving backwards in energy density. They don't want anything. This is just like you can never be progressive enough. You chop
This
your
is-
dick off. It's not never enough. We're going to keep going until the only acceptable thing is total ablation of every square foot of the surface of the earth. That's what this is. It is anti-organic life.
Yes.
Somebody came
It's
up
evil.
with a
It's pure
theory that
evil.
said,
No, it really is. It really is, Tommy.
Some-
You're absolutely correct. I don't know if you guys noticed how speechless. No, Dave, I cannot even begin to understand them going to that level.
Yeah.
That I get wiping out genders. I get all of that stuff. But-
really?
Yeah, no, that part makes sense. But to say that
Really?
plant life, no, that like there, I can see them going there. I cannot see them going to plant life is
Bad for CO2.
bad for the environment.
Well, it's consistent
But
with
what is the
DesMed.
environment then?
Well, their
It's
their
consistent
scientific
with DesMed.
reasoning could not be more flawed. Their scientific reasoning could not be. Desmond's book is very good.
Well, let
wasn't
me
gonna
say
read it.
why. You guys aren't
No.
letting me get in here. It's
Okay, go for
consistent
it,
with
Jim.
what he says about, you know, them just this group of maniacs asking the public to accept ever more absurd propositions.
Right.
So, you know, we're now at the, you know, the last limit of absurdity.
Well, this is beginning is what you do is you make it more and more absurd and you make it so there's no objective truth. And then you could insert pure evil and no one knows, or everyone's afraid to say that's evil because they don't want to be denounced as not being progressive enough. So now
Well,
all of a sudden,
I want to just take a little turn here and ask Dave and Tom, who are both much more finance guys than I am, a question. And
I don't
let
think
me
that
preface it by
statement's
saying
true,
that
but go ahead.
let me preface it by saying that, you know, there's just this tremendous abiding mystery, and it's a mysterious mystery because we should know better, about who is behind all this fuckery. Okay, I mean, you know, we should have a better idea. But you know, today I saw something about Stanley Fink and Blackstone, or Larry Fink.
Larry Fink.
And Blackstone, and I'm beginning to get the idea that, you know, what's happening is that they have just got so much money under management and so much institutional money under management that they're pushing every corporation in the world around and basically blackmailing every corporation. I think Stanley Fink is Larry Fink is a main player in this. And you know, there's a lot of evil emanating from Blackstone. And what could be done about it?
And you're right about that. No, this is a very important point. Martin Armstrong's been banging his shoe on the table about this for a while now. That BlackRock is absolutely using their a little less than $9 trillion under management, voting our proxies at all these board meetings to effectively tell every, you know, corporation on the planet that they have a significant, they own a significant portion of that. You know, we have board seats. We're moving. You will do what we tell you to do. You will destroy your own business, or, you know, we'll pull our money out and your stocks will crash. And this is economic hitman argument. This is no different than economic hitman stuff, the John Perkins stuff, which we would do to a nation, right? A whole bunch of, you know, hot money would flow in. The government would not do something we didn't like, and then we pull the hot money out. The country's finances will crash, and then then they have to go to the IMF for a loan, blah, 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 blah. Lather, rinse, repeat until we get a government in that we want, that, you know, strip mines the country. Well, guess what? They're doing the same thing to the corporations. It's the same model.
Doesn't seem very effective, though. They're just generating all this animus against the company.
Well, they think that they're going to push this as far. They think that they have the power to push and socially engineer society along these lines. And the thing is, and this is, I was chatting with the Slow News guys days, Steve I was chatting with on the podcast this morning, and I said the way to get around this is really simple. Everybody, if as opposed to buying an iShares ETF, iShares X ETF, which is just managed by BlackRock, buy the top 5 holdings in that ETF directly. Stop doing ETF passive investing. Stop, pull your money out of Vanguard funds, pull your money out of BlackRock funds, and just invest in those stocks directly.
Well, one of the theories is BlackRock's trying to get the money from Vanguard because Vanguard's passive and BlackRock wants active.
Mm-hmm.
So the ESG demands active because you got to say, well, we only invest in companies that are worth a fuck,
right?
And therefore you have to invest with us to get those companies. Whereas Vanguard has this gigantic, mindless flow of money.
Right.
And so one could argue that they're going for the Vanguard. Now, one thing that seems clear to me is that these companies are not making these decisions because they make business sense.
Right.
They can't possibly think that taking a consumer base that's 90% mullets,
right,
and thinking that bringing not just a transgender woman. Let's play along.
Dylan Mulvaney.
There are transgender women out there who you look at and you go, oh shit, I'd tap that, right?
Yeah.
But they bring out a nitwit. They bring out a woman who is
not a woman.
repulsive. Well, let's call her a woman for
No,
laughs. But,
I won't.
But okay. So we bring out a Tommy, but they're insulting to women. They're insulting to men. Dylan Mulvaney is just Mulvaney is just a total embarrassment. So there are transgender women out there who you could bring out. I saw a commercial the other day I thought wasn't bad. It was a tent. It was North Face or something. And they brought out this transgender woman. She pops on the top of the tent and she starts wailing away. And she's going, and we're into gay and we're into this. And she's going, you and you and you. Some guy's in the tent. He goes, don't you think you're a little intense? And she says, well, you don't have to sleep in tents. You can, and it was a parody.
Yeah.
Right.
And it actually worked for me. I said, oh, that was a funny commercial.
Okay.
All right. It could be done. It could be done. It's just that they're not doing. Did you see the Calvin Klein ad?
No, I know that they.
Oh yeah, the two large people.
Is that the guy with the bra?
Is that what they were?
Two people who were so butt ugly.
Yeah.
That no one wants to see them.
And one looked like a tranny with a beard.
I thought that was.
But my wife, for example, says she doesn't want to watch fat women in lingerie. Right now, that's debatable. There might be women who want to see what it looks like, but what would make sense would be a woman. You say, look, if she lost 30 pounds, she'd be hot.
Yeah,
that would make sense. But no, the Calvin Klein ad is let's go find the two ugliest people on the planet. Oh, they happen to be transgender. So what? We'll use them. I mean, it was just unbelievable.
It's not just the disrespect. They're thumbing their nose at.
They're garish. I keep coming. The word garish always comes up in my brain.
Well,
garish.
it's an insult.
Well, but it's
to
the
the
same.
public.
But it's this. But it's the same thing in the politics. They're rubbing your nose.
Fetterman.
That we have absolutely no respect for you. Yes,
and
Fetterman,
Biden
2024. It's a no-brainer.
And
right?
we have no.
And Hobbs against Lake. Now Hobbs against Lake is not as extreme, but Hobbs just went into her basement, and somehow they pulled that off. Of course, it turns out that they rigged that vote in a very big way, but that came out this week, actually, how far off that vote was.
Do you think Kari Lake has any chance of overcoming that?
Depends on who's the judge. One of these days, one of these stories is going to leak out, and whether it makes a difference, right? It's not like we don't have the Durham report. The Durham report shows the FBI should be taken right down to the studs.
Right.
Completely and utterly destroyed.
Yeah.
And it won't be.
No.
What do you make of the announcement today that Christopher Wray is actually going to walk that document over to to James Comer's committee office on Monday? The document that says that the Biden family took a $5 million bribe
from a foreign entity.
It's over
meaningful
10
at all?
No.
No.
We know. Well, we know the laptop's real. What happened to that? We know that there's 41,000 hours of videotape of J6 that undoubtedly have information that would have kept some people out of jail, like QAnon shaman, who they let out of jail because it was so embarrassing. And we also know that McCarthy has released none of it, and Tucker Carlson released about 20 minutes, maybe.
Yeah.
And so we know that right now they're acting like a Stalinist regime.
Yeah.
They got put the 41,000 hours out on the internet. Let lawyers dig through, let them crowdsource like they did the Pfizer vaccine data.
Yeah.
I got to think that, this effort to suppress secrets is so strenuous. I can't imagine that it doesn't break. That something in it doesn't break and shit gets out about Epstein, or, like yesterday, the Marco Polo site, which has organized all of the Hunter Biden laptop material, put out an archive of not seen before Hunter Biden salacious videos.
But see,
And
that
yet-
doesn't do anything though.
Well, not only did it not do anything, nobody could get access to it for, the 505 error sign kept on coming up every time you tried to tap into it.
But if you said Bill Clinton's a rapist, people would yawn.
Yeah.
Well, it's different than, here's a guy who's, he's got prosecutions underway. There, investigations are happening. He's got a prosecution looming, and, videos come out of him with underage girls. I think that would be a bit damaging to his reputation, his case, and, his future.
Hunter or Joe?
Hunter and Joe, but Hunter in particular.
Hunter's reputation's gone, right?
Well, okay, but as far as a federal judge not being able to even deflect this case the way they do in the D.C. federal district,
They seem to be getting away with it.
Well, they seem to be.
And the FBI has been holding them, been covering, running cover for them.
You ever looked at the Clinton?
At the very
You ever
least,
looked at the? You ever
at the
looked
very
at the
least,
Clinton,
this document. At the very least, this document that they're bringing over is an impeachable offense. It's flat out treasonous behavior.
I know.
Well, you're not even. You haven't even been a president until you've been impeached twice, right?
Well, lately, maybe.
Well,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
that's
But
the
it's
point.
one thing to be impeached, for bullshit like the Ukraine phone call. It's another thing to be impeached for bribery and treason.
Jim, I agree with you, and it would be nice, but it's clearer that until there's enough compromise on enough people in Washington to actually move the needle and get the numbers necessary to do what needs to be done, nothing is going to happen. And there's no better example of this than what fucking McCarthy and that prick Biden put together in that abortion of a debt ceiling deal, where the two of them sat there and LARPed about how they didn't like each other while they were crafting the very perfect deal that got more Democrats to some fucking thing than the Republicans did.
McCarthy should not be trusted. Period.
Of course not. Of course not. But
so
the point
McCarthy,
is that
I don't know if
they're literally laughing at us at this point, and they don't give a fuck, and they're just going to keep going.
That's part of the shtick.
Yes.
It's not just arrogance. It's part of making us say, fuck it, I quit.
Yeah.
Now, McCarthy did something that I don't know if I can show it on screen or not, but when he was getting a standing O when he got the vote, I'm going to try to imitate it. Can you see me? He's got his papers in his hand and he's getting the ovation. And what he does is, for a brief moment, he sets his papers down, does that, then puts his hand back in his pocket and picks his papers back up.
Yep.
That is a satanic Illuminati.
It's to
hand
break your
signal.
it's to break your spirit.
And the problem is, you watch Merkel and she puts her hands like that because a chick doesn't have pockets. She puts her hands like that to keep them from getting lost, right?
Yeah.
If you watch this video, and I'll happily send it to you, he explicitly, it's like he did this, right? If you did that, you'd know what the hell the guy was doing, right?
Yeah.
He did that, and he took his hand out of his pocket, put his papers down, did that for about 2 seconds, put his hand back in his pocket, picked the papers back up. He was sending a very clear message that the globalists were in charge.
Yeah.
Yep. That job, mission accomplished.
Yeah.
That's right. That is right.
What that is.
I can't dispute that you saw that, but I just find it hard to believe that the guy is making, is sending Satanist symbols on camera.
So last weekend, I
incredulous.
did a deep dive on satanic cults,
Yeah.
and it was triggered by some tweet of someone.
Read the
Maybe it was that
Frankenstein
Larry Singer guy who's claiming that he was giving Obama hum jobs back in 2010 or something.
Hell yeah.
But I dug in. Alex Jones's first breakthrough, the thing that put him on the map, turns out he busted into a satanic cult. I think it was down in Florida or something.
Bohemian Grove. No.
Bohemian Grove, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
No, it's
California.
California.
and he filmed it, and it was a bunch of powerful billionaire types doing satanic crap.
Yeah. The
And so-
cremation
so-
of the hair.
I watched that thing when it first hit the internet. 20 years ago.
So then I started reading
Fun.
up on child trafficking. So here's what I like to say to people who are totally naive to all this kind of discussion.
Be careful
I
what you
said,
Google.
No. I say, you've heard about the child trafficking, right? They go, oh yeah. And I said, it's a profound problem, right? I go, oh yeah. And I said, these kids aren't being shipped off to trailer parks because there's no profit in a trailer park. These kids are going somewhere. I said, I've seen estimates as high as 2 million kids per year disappearing.
Mm-hmm.
I said, when was the last time you heard of some guy getting arrested for this? 2 million kids are disappearing and no one's getting arrested.
They throw out token.
No one's getting arrested. Token arrest. So then in my dive last weekend, I was depressed by the end of the weekend. I watched documentaries that showed case after case after case of guys who got caught, arrested, tried, and then let go. And they were named, they were famous people, not super famous. But we know Prince Andrew was banging chicks with Epstein, nothing happened. We know Clinton flew on the Lolita Express 28 fucking times, nothing happened.
Yeah.
They go, oh, that's just Bill. Yeah, he rapes teenagers. So, that's
what Bill. Slick Willie.
That's just Bill.
He fucks Girl Scouts.
Right?
What do you just hate him?
But then you start digging around on the Lolita Express story and you start running into people saying, John Roberts was there. I don't know if that's true, because we're never going to find out who was there besides these shards of information. You ever looked at Clinton's pardons? I once went through them. 1,100 pardons. They are 100% drugs and bank fraud. There are not grandmothers who are in jail because they somehow got falsely convicted. Drugs and bank fraud.
Yeah.
That's it. So when they were chasing Clinton around for pardoning Mark Rich,
yep,
which it turns out that if you pay attention to Whitney Webb, you find out that Mark Rich wasn't just a financier; he was Mossad. He was a big goddamn swinging dick in the Mossad.
Right.
Right. And then what you say, okay, so Clinton pardoned all these guys. The Republicans had these pardons. One guy was pardoned who had 800 kilos of cocaine in possession. He got pardoned. So then the question is not just why did Clinton pardon him, because we know Bill and Hillary ran a crime syndicate, period. QED, done. From all the way back from Arkansas.
Me in Arkansas.
Why? That's right. Why did the Republicans never touch any of those?
Because it's all blackmailed through and through.
That's right.
I mean, no, I've talked about this before. I mean, you look at the development of weaponry. You look at the difference between World War I and World War II. World War II really showed the power of air power. And then after World War II, Curtis LeMay, the fucking big swinging dick of the Air Force, even he ceded that missiles were the new things because they weren't manned. They could go into orbit. And then why put dumb bombs on them? You could just put a single thermonuclear warhead. Weapon systems just cede to, and then finally you get to the point where you're like, we don't even need weapons. You just need cyber.
I'm doing a podcast now. I can't talk to you.
Jim's on the phone with the Mossad.
Bye.
Can we keep
chicken
talking?
Supplier. Chicken supplier.
No, but if you keep looking at this and then you finally get to cyber warfare, we don't even need weapons. Just go hack the thing that they're using to make the weapons. It turns into more. And if you just follow it over 100 years, the trend is towards a smaller fingerprint with a greater effect on a greater number of people. So what would the natural end course be? But go, yeah, we don't need a war. Just get a video of the prime minister fucking a Girl Scout, and then they're going to do whatever we say for the next 30 years. It is the ultimate weapon.
Who appears to be on the shit list of what we'll call the globalists? I don't know what else to call them besides the globalists.
Jim would call
right
them
now.
So if you look at
the big one right now is clear. The big one that they're gunning for right now is Jamie Dimon.
No, they want to put him in there.
No.
Oh, they want to stop.
They're going after Dimon.
But the key was
out. They're trying to get him out of JP Morgan.
That I was wondering why you said that.
Dimon,
the way
Trump,
I thought you said it.
Elon
No. Trump, Putin, Orban.
No, Orban.
They're going after all the nationalists. Nationalists are not good for globalists.
Yeah.
Erdogan.
Yeah.
Who they failed with.
Maloney in Italy.
Imran Khan in Pakistan. Imran Khan in Pakistan. No,
and
you're right.
5 African dictators got whacked because they wouldn't vaccinate their countries.
Push the COVID vaccine, yeah.
They wouldn't push. 5 of them died.
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So they're going after first and foremost the elections. All the MAGA guys got whacked.
Yep.
You said I'm MAGA, you are gone. You could be running for dog catcher, you are gone.
Mm-hmm.
Trump was correct when he said they're not coming for me, they're coming for you.
Mm-hmm.
Trump, by the way, went from being a narcissist of a higher order, in which I think he just loved the limelight. I think his narcissism matured to a much higher level where he said, I will be the greatest if I am a great president.
I know. I think
I actually think he figured that out. And so he said, I've got to be one of the greats.
it's kind of hilarious.
Well, I don't think it is, though, because I think he realizes being one of the greats is to defeat the Satanists.
Yeah. Well, no, it is. It is.
And then
that is the final thing. Is I think he realized it's so ego, and I've always thought this. It's so. I mean, personally, and I don't give a shit where it comes from. If it turns out I get a better president, I get a better president. But I think he looked at it and was like, "Yeah, who's revered the most?" It's like a Kennedy. It's someone who is.
Reagan.
I mean, there's like a
Reagan, Kennedy,
or Eisenhower, Andrew Jackson. Like I killed the bank. It's a romantic sense, and I do think his ego was so large. He was like, "Fuck this small shtick of playing ball." He's like, I want to be like a martyr.
He realized it wasn't just getting in front of the microphone every day.
You want to be remembered, and I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that turned him into a much more focused leader.
Oh yeah. At the end of the day, that you're right, Dave. The Trump's ego is what drove that. He said, "I'm going to be one of the great presidents of all time, and they're going to put me on Mount Rushmore." Like, country is not going to last long enough.
Right.
With these fucking globalists running around to even have, it'll take 20 years to put your head on Mount Rushmore, dude. The country won't last that long.
Hey, here's something I don't understand is, Dave, you paint a very interesting picture about the power of these mysterious globalists to go around whacking everybody who, or discrediting everybody or killing everybody that threatens
Gets
them.
in their way.
What I don't understand is why the anti-globalists are so impotent. Why there aren't a few squads of former military anti-globalists and nationalists, of whom you'd think that there would be quite a few.
Well, there might be
who could pull off a Night of the Long Knives kind of deal.
They might be.
I don't think they have the power now.
I think it's.
Well, I don't know.
I think the bureaucratic inertia is large enough. I think I go back to Jim. I think the answer lies in what I said earlier. Goober wants to be a part of the conversation. He was just let out of the pasture today for the first time in forever and a day. Good dog. I think it lies in what I said earlier, which is that there's still too much institutional inertia. That the bureaucracy is still in control, and until there's enough compromise and until there's a stack of manila folders on the sovereigntist side, the nationalist side, that's high enough that you can start changing the numbers, then the rats will start leaving the sinking ship. And right now, everybody's in I'm going to continue to protect the existing failing power structure because I could be exposed and it could blow back on me.
That's not what I'm talking about.
We're going to get flipped. There's going to be a flip. I know that's not what you're talking about, Jim, but I still think that there's just too many people scared of the
too many people complicit
of the backlash.
Yeah, but there are a whole lot of people who are totally outside this system, not even close to being in the system. I don't understand why someone just doesn't get an RPG and lob it into the house of one of these bad guys.
Well, that's then legally, I have to say that's a joke for this podcast.
It's a joke.
Yeah.
Well, actually,
a metaphorical
not
RPG.
Joking. What you don't know, I'm going to not let that be a joke. What I don't know is why there aren't guys who do go crazy. I don't understand. Why do the school shooters are I think they're all psyops. I mean, I think the school shooters are actually just
why hasn't someone snapped and
one thing?
But what I don't understand is why. So, like the guy in the LA Police Department who declared war against the LAPD. That's
Dorner.
That's what Dorner. Yeah, that's what we should be seeing more of, and I don't quite know why we're not.
You know, what I don't understand is why anybody is shooting up schools when you'd think there'd be a lot more people who would want to shoot up hospital business offices. You know, all these
The
people who have
healthcare
been
that
You're-
bankrupted by their wife's
it doesn't
cancer.
add up.
because the assumption is that they're shooting up schools for a reason. I believe that the bulk of the shooters are poisoner and chief products. I think these shooters, I think they're highly susceptible, screwed up kids who are drugged out of their minds, who are getting caught on social media and getting brainwashed into going and be batshit. And that's why they're rhythmic. They all have the same MO, different targets, but they're and we don't hear about them. You start
the end
digging
result
in.
is the same. It's de-armament.
The end result's the same.
Nothing to do with psychiatric drugs. Nothing to do with social media use. Nothing.
It's
to do
not
with
about making a point.
No,
the kid
it's,
doesn't even know what he's doing.
the end goal is always it's one focused goal and one focused goal only. And it's de-armament. It has nothing about
I don't even think
households.
it's that. I don't even think it's that. I think.
Then what's the psyop?
I think the psyop is to keep us fighting. So someone said the other day that I thought was really a clever thought was that the threat of the United States is not the elite here, and it's not the peasants here. What the United States has that's unique is a strong middle class.
Mm-hmm.
And the psyop of the last 50 years appears to be an effort to tear down the strong middle class.
Yeah. Of course, that's what commies do.
You know, people listening to us think are nuts. So when you say, of course, there's three of us who are sort of coursing with you, but there's a bunch of others saying, I'm just watching to see how nuts these guys are, right?
Well, yeah, but no one's watching me not to know that I don't believe that they're targeting the middle class, because in order to have a more perfect communist union, you need to first destroy the middle class. You have to kill. You always have to destroy the bourgeois. Like, let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So I'm reading Whitney's book now. Whitney's book is a tough read because she writes it in a very scholarly, thorough way. Any of you guys read her book?
No. I'm about 250 pages into volume 1.
It's grueling.
Yeah, it's almost as difficult as the political Ponerology book.
So I'm doing it audio, and the merit of audio is that it just keeps playing.
Yeah.
So I'm driving in my car, and if my brain is not registering it, it just keeps playing. So I don't have to, I don't fall asleep because of it. But what Whitney is showing, what I do when I get in a book like that, where the names overwhelm the book, right? So the connectivities are, as I just do, I treat it as an impressionist painting. And the impressionist painting Whitney paints is of an entire sort of global elite circumventing the globe that are just connected. They're just all so connected.
Yep.
And whether, you know, a lot of it goes back to Lansky. I think a lot of it goes back to the Medicis. I think a lot of it goes back to the Rothschilds. You can't talk about the banking cartel without hitting the Rothschilds, which gets you labeled an anti-Semitic. But I can't help it if there's this sort of a Jewish mob that comes from Lansky. I just can't help that. I can't talk about them. And
right.
And so but it's not just them. And so one of the interesting thoughts I picked up recently was this idea that they don't corrupt the powerful. They corrupt you, and once corrupted, then they let you become powerful.
Well, yeah.
But you cannot climb as an unpowerful person. You cannot climb the ladder until they have you by the short hairs. They say, okay, and then they feed you power and everything.
And then they let you do it, and then there's the deactivation switch, right? So it's
they can get you anytime they want.
Yeah,
boom,
it's not that they did. It's like when they were finding all those documents in Biden's garage. Everyone's like, they're finding it. It's the end. I'm like, they've had those since the 90s, and that's why he's the president. And maybe they were just shot across the bow. They're like, you know, maybe we do prosecute Hunter, and he's all right, another $100 billion to Ukraine or whatever the fuck.
Right.
That's all it is. That's how you get.
Well, I mean, this is not that Biden personally wouldn't go along with Ukraine. Almost Ukraine in some ways is almost a bad example. But yeah, let's overthrow because we need to do this because of blah blah blah. Or we're gonna flare up and they're gonna Karabakh, or we're gonna try and make another run at Lukashenko in Belarus or whatever. Biden and Ukraine are like, you know, chocolate peanut fucking butter. Like
that
was a bad example in terms of you do what we say, or
Right.
And back to kind of earlier in the conversation.
So I didn't know we were talking about Lindsey Graham in this conversation.
We're talking about anything. Hey. But back to what we were saying about the
that didn't play well, did it?
Back to what we were saying about ESG and these corporations, right? This all does tie in about letting someone become powerful, about human trafficking, about pedophilia, about all this shit. You have to then look at it, why are they doing this? And there's a couple explanations, and I'm not sure which is right. One could be that they have broken so far from reality, they actually believe at the very top that people want fat dudes wearing bras. I don't put that out of the realm of possibility. The next is that it's been a total coup.
As a fat dude, that makes me nervous.
You're beautiful, Dave, and I won't hear you say otherwise. Number two would be that their power is so complete that this is now a demoralization campaign. And number three could be that there's something that we're not seeing. We look at it and we go, they're idiots. Well, if you have all the money in the world, losing money from Budweiser or whatever, or Chick-fil-A, that might not be. What is the other goal? Why are they tearing it all down to institute something new? Who knows? But they're doing something, and they're not doing it by accident. So whereas we go, how dumb are they for using Dylan Mulvaney? Man, I don't think they're dumb. I think there's a goal that we're not seeing.
Well, that's anytime something
a feature, not a bug.
Anytime you see something that seems so stupid you can't believe someone would do it, then you're looking at it wrong, because they're not that stupid.
Exactly.
It's like our pull out of Afghanistan looked like it was stupid, but it clearly was not.
I don't know, Dave. I think it's more like a Coen Brothers movie, like Burn After Reading. Where
I think some of it is Burn After Reading, Jim. I think that's a great.
It's just there's a whole lot of people who appear to know what they're doing, but in fact they're just pretending to know what they're doing, and the whole thing is a gigantic clusterfuck.
But if it was all a clusterfuck, it would have broken down by now. There are some people that know it's
and that's the perfect counter argument, Tommy. I think
the military is filled with idiots. The military is filled with idiots for a reason. Is the point? Sure. So you can say that guy is stupid.
Yeah.
Why is there a stupid guy with 4 stars on his shoulder?
I really do believe that it's somewhere half between. It's that perfect midpoint between malice and incompetence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And really there's something emergent about the collapse of a civilization that I think would provoke behavior so strange that it would almost be you wouldn't be able to account for it. It's so strange. I think that what it says to me is that the collapse of Western Civ and of the American scene in particular is actually so severe now that explains why we're seeing such extreme absurdity and psychopathology.
Did you see Putin's speech? Did you guys see Putin's 7-minute speech?
No, I did not.
About 2 weeks ago. About 2 weeks ago. I can get it to you.
I've seen many of his speeches. They're
No. He gave one, and he talked about all the problems in the United States. And there was footage of crazy shit, yanking down statues. It was transgender. It was everything.
I think.
And he tore us a new one, like I would have been so proud to write.
Right.
And it was just unbelievably well done, where he's going, I was in the Soviet Union. We went down this path. We killed lots of people. We turned kids against their parents. Don't go there. So it was the most rational. Did you see it, Tom? It was the most rational.
He's given versions of that speech in the past. I don't know. I might have.
There's one about 2 weeks ago.
I saw a recent
amazing
7-minute speech. It looked to me like the one I saw recently, and it was because it was making the rounds. And I know I tweeted it out about a week ago, but that was from Valdai in 2022, before the war broke out. He gave that speech. He gave a version of that speech about that. I don't know if he gave it recently, but if it's a new one, it's a new one. But it's nothing. But it is, or it's an excerpt from the speech that he gave, the big speech he gave at Valdai in January 2022, where he went over this for like 45 minutes. And I know that what I saw, or what I retweeted out about a week ago, maybe 10 days ago, just somebody posted it up on my server, and I saw it again. I'm like, oh, that's the Valdai speech from 2022. Everybody needs to be reminded about this. So at least that's what I thought it was. Maybe it was a new one. I don't know.
I think he's doing a magnificent job of managing the situation, because what he's faced with is, a U.S. culture, political culture that is so out of its mind that it could do any crazy thing imaginable. And he's got him, I think that's one of the reasons that they're just grinding slowly away at Ukraine. And, they're eventually going to push the Ukrainians to the point where they have to negotiate an end to this thing.
You would hope,
and the Europeans are going to fold first. They've already made plenty of noises about that. So,
well, Jim, I hope that you're right about that, but I think a little more cynical view of it, which is, I hope that that's as far as it goes, and I hope that what we have on Capitol Hill is enough people passing out the manila envelopes to start the tipping point. Now that we're past the debt ceiling, even though it did not go the way I would have liked to have gone. So with that as a preface,
did you imagine it would go another way?
I hoped it would go a different. Okay, but I'm not going.
The Republicans got nothing.
No, they got nothing.
Whitney said it brilliantly. She said, "You're delusional if you think you're going to elect a solution to the problem."
Right, you're not going to. We know this.
I just retweeted the Putin speech. I just retweeted it. So if you want to grab it, just go to my Twitter feed.
Thank you.
So what I'm going to say here about what's going on in Ukraine is the following. Putin is doing exactly what he should be doing, which is prosecuting a war of attrition, both politically, kinetically, and economically against the West. What he's doing, right? In every way. And yes, he is grinding out the Ukrainian military. But at the same time, the debt ceiling was resolved that gave Biden a blank check to spend $4 trillion on war preparations to bring NATO into the war in Ukraine. Because if you grind the Ukrainians down to their bare minimum, now you're going to have to bring NATO in. Unless you are ready to actually pull the plug on the entire project, which I do not believe that they want to do. So, which I hope they do. I know there are people in the U.S. military that want them to. I know there are people in the U.S. political and power hierarchy, the oligarchy, want this to end. But are they the majority of the hierarchy? And is there still too much inertia at the policy level to stop the fucking train? Okay? Because right now the train's running on time, and that time is the end of this year. Okay? So, and that's what I think is going on here. And we're making massive war preparations. And in Romania, Poland, it's happening. The Russians are preparing for a long war. They're bringing thousands of old tanks out of storage, refitting them as mobile artillery pieces because they know they're useless in maneuver combat because these are World War II tanks, but they make brilliant mobile artillery platforms. Okay, these old T-52s and whatnot that they're bringing out. Like, this shit's on, and Putin understands what's going on here. He understands that they're not going to stop because this is to them existential. The end of Ukraine is the loss of the whole fucking heartland. This goes back to Mackinder. I wrote about this the other day, and nothing has changed these people. If you listen to von der Leyen, Borrell, Charles Michel, Guy Verhofstadt, all of those fucking people, they all say the same thing. Annalena Baerbock, all of these fucking crazies, they all say the same goddamn
I just
thing.
don't believe they have the will or the mojo to carry it out. The European nations.
The European nations don't, but the European leadership does. What you're seeing is, oh, let the Americans go do this.
Well, right, but how many divisions do they have? They got gazettes.
Look, it's not about, as Tommy said earlier, it's not even about infantry at this point. Like, Victoria Nuland wants to nuke Moscow. Okay? And they're serious, folks. Don't laugh.
No, I'm laughing at the absurdity.
It's real.
It's because I know it's real.
I know they're right. It is absurd and stupid. It's Dr. Strangelove, folks. But that's where we are.
Well, I do think that,
and I hope they, and like, I hope I'm wrong, but this is my read of the, because that's their only move. They lost Erdogan and they've lost Turkey. Turkey is now going to do everything. I literally just hit publish on a blog post about this about 20 minutes ago or an hour ago. Erdogan is going to put sand in the gears of NATO as long as they allow him. They're either going to assassinate him or kick Turkey out of NATO in order to bring Sweden in order to do what they want to do, because he still has veto power. But Erdogan is clearly off the reservation. They ran an economic hitman program on Turkey for 5 fucking years. They pushed Turkey through 3 waves of hyperinflation to get rid of Erdogan, and they failed. Okay, they're pulling shit in Pakistan that in Pakistan's history, Pakistanis are like, holy shit, they're serious now. Like, this is it. They lose Pakistan, they lose Turkey, they lose Ukraine, they lose everything, and their only other option is the unthinkable, and they will institute the draft.
Well, that's a kind of a game.
President Poopy Pants, Mushroom Head, as a fucking war president.
Yeah.
Look, the Europeans.
Yeah, that's a warm thought.
The European leaders may be, out of their minds in the way that you're describing, but and the European people may have been exceedingly passive and beaten down psychologically.
Agreed.
But I don't see them supporting a giant world war against Russia. I just don't. I can only imagine the
you don't need a
citizens of Germany and France and Italy and Hungary and Poland are gonna they're gonna get batshit
Hungary's
crazy.
gonna say no. The Poles are gonna be happy fucking useful cannon fodder.
It's they're not
the anti-Russian sentiment in Poland is deep. Otherwise, there would be a political revolution in Poland, and there isn't. They are captured on both sides.
Yeah, but I don't know about
the party of Donald Tusk and the currently in power neocons of Morawiecki.
Yeah, but then it's down to basically saying that NATO is only Poland, and that's kind of a silly proposition.
No, because
Germany and France are not going to. I don't believe that Germany and France are going to be dragged into a shooting war with Russia. I don't believe it for a minute.
Nor Italy.
I think you're really missing the big point of why all the immigration.
Well,
where do you think these people are going to turn to when there's no fucking money? And all of these, and they've invited half the friggin' world onto their shores. And you need a 2 million man army? That's not hard. We just imported
3 square meals.
I don't know.
Oh, come on.
Look, it would take them a few years to marshal. It would take them years to marshal that kind of force. And in the meantime, they're Western
they
civ
can drag
really
this
going
out
down the
in
drain.
the current form until 2025, Jim. It will start as a tank war. It will start as a missile stand. It will start as a missile war, and it'll start. And if the first phase of that is, you're still thinking in terms of hundreds of thousands of troops. I don't buy that either. I think what they're hoping for is a supreme escalation that gives them the right and the moral fervor to call up millions of people in a draft to fight the evil Russians after they get the Russians to go offside. And Putin has played this masterfully by saying, you know what? You can punch me in the face all you want. At this point, the Brits are basically the annoying little brother in the backseat going, I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. And Putin's going, Christ on a crutch, Mom.
Putin's playing this like Israel played the first Gulf War. Israel was, it wasn't brilliant because it was so obvious.
Rope-a-dope.
Well, but what I'm sure that the high command said, okay, here's the deal. The U.S. troops are coming in big numbers. If Israel fires a single weapon, you will mobilize Arabs. And so Israel had to just take every hit and say, look, the U.S. will bring in its Patriot missiles and protect you. We'll do everything we can. You can't throw a punch if we want to hold this coalition together. Putin is playing that kind of a game. No matter how much you poke at him, he's going, I am going to work around the Donbass and Crimea and places like that. And he's not going to cross some critical dotted line that allows us to scream at him. Except for, I don't trust us to not just fake it, right?
Oh, no, well, that's
clearly the next thing.
That's what we'll do, is we're just going to.
But they tried that already with Bucha and all these other ones. And every once in a while, every once in a while, when the Brits get particularly egregious, then they send a Kinzhal right into Ukrainian military intelligence command in Kiev.
My Twitter feed hates this war.
What's that?
My Twitter feed hates this war.
Okay, yeah.
Now, I have to say my Twitter feed because it's big, but it's also lopsided.
It also produces Greta Thunberg with massive titties, so I'm not
sure.
It
has merit. Has merit.
That's not a bad thing.
Has lots of merit.
Yeah, I know. But I think the Americans, I think I think this war has dragged out long enough for the Americans to not support.
And to that point,
Escalation.
Dave, to that point, I mentioned that I'm not sure that the European citizenry is going to
At
tolerate
all.
that wall.
But
But
what
we
does it
also have to
matter?
consider the fact that, they could easily provoke a civil war in the USA if they continue with this mishegas, as my people
And
say.
isn't that ultimately the plan?
That is that. Yeah,
Isn't that a great? Isn't that a great fallback plan B position?
yeah.
Because the minute you minute you get the United States to fall apart into internecine squabbling, isn't that your goal? Because
Yeah.
hasn't that been the goal of these fucking globalists since the day after Cornwallis surrendered to fucking Yorktown?
I don't know.
No,
Those are deep roots.
It kind of
They're deep
is.
roots.
It's kind of what the Civil War was about. It's kind of what everything's been a fucking about. These people, they don't care. They have their plan, and then they have the other outcome on the whiteboard. They have their flow chart. And their flow chart is, if worse comes to worse, we get the United States to break apart. And at that point, the capital markets collapse. They can destroy what's left of the middle class. They can make it. This is the goal, is to destroy the Constitution and destroy the only codified government on the planet where the people enshrined the fucking government, and the government technically works for the people.
Well, I think we're doing a good job of destroying ourselves.
Well, I think no, but you don't pull battleships up to the shore to beat the United States. You get us to destroy ourselves.
Well, yeah, it's the only way. It's the only way.
So everything, this is whatever these globalists are doing. They're the ones putting Dylan Mulvaney or whatever on the Bud Light can.
Yeah,
they're the ones, they're
the ones.
Bringing male-based athletes into women's sports.
They're the ones bringing California's budget deficit to $32 billion, where they'll
offer $500,000 of reparations,
and then go out and then do that at the same time that they do reparations.
But Tom,
and then give money to Ukraine and admit that it's going to pension funds in Ukraine.
You've already said we're not going to vote our way out of this.
Right.
So then, it seems inescapable that there's going to be some kind of a strenuous reaction against it by other means.
I don't know what that looks like, Jim, but the best I can tell you is our best strategy is to, one, not give them what they want, i.e. the violence that they're begging us for. The same way they're begging conservatives to go violent here, just the way they're begging Putin to nuke Kiev. Well, guess what? I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I don't know if I said it here, but the best way to fight these people is to be like my goats. When my goats don't want to go where I want them to go, they put their legs out like this, and you got to drag them bodily through dirt, and you can't move them because they're just all obstinate all the time. That's it. They're ungovernable creatures. You try and herd goats with a dog, they scatter. Okay? There is no goat dog on the planet. There are sheep dogs. There are cattle dogs. There ain't no goddamn goat dog.
Well, the problem I'm having with this, the problem I'm having,
what we have to do.
The problem I'm having with this is
throw sand in the gears, and eventually the whole thing grinds to a halt.
Yeah, well, the problem I'm having with this is that this globalist enemy that we are positing, we're attributing this just a tremendous purposeful motive behind everything they're doing, and we're not supposing that there are other contrary forces in our country that are just as purposeful.
No,
I didn't say that.
No. And
I've been saying this for 2 years. I just don't know who's winning.
I want to touch on
that ceiling fight tells me that the good guys, the sovereigntists aren't winning. Didn't win this round. But I do believe that the sovereigntists are winning. Otherwise, are trying. Otherwise, interest rates wouldn't be at 5.25%, dude. QT wouldn't be ticking away in the background at $95 billion a month. Jamie Dimon wouldn't be going over and organizing a symposium or a summit of business leaders in China, meeting with major members of the Politburo. Jerome Powell wouldn't be speaking to the head of the PBOC. These are your clues.
I want to touch on what
there is a powerful faction trying to stop this. But what I said earlier is that the inertia is just, some of this is just bureaucratic inertia, and some of it just takes time. And I honestly believe that there are back channels open between members of the State Department and DOD and whatnot in the banking industry in the United States, talking with both Putin and Xi and others, trying to say, look, we know we're acting crazy. We know this looks bad. Please, we're working on trying to get rid of these fucking people, but they're dug in like ticks, and it's going to take a long time.
Who do you think are the worst ones in our country? Who are the worst? Because Joe Biden he's a cipher. He's an
it's Obama and his clique. It's the Susan Rices and the Valerie Jarrett's, the ones you never hear about.
I know, but they're not that many of them.
Are you sure they're not front people? Are you sure? Someone said the leaders of the world do not have Wikipedia pages.
I've said that.
That was probably you.
Hold on,
I heard it from somebody else. To be fair, but
hold on. I want to touch on what Jim said about
well, I'm stealing dug in like a tick. So.
Well, I'm gonna
okay.
Hold on. It's
I live in Florida.
why are there people why are there people in the military and the finance, good people who are pushing back, and how come they're not as fierce, what Jim was saying? And I think we do see some openly with Tom saying, I think it's different, and I have a much more cynical take on it. So let's go back to what Dave said about, why could Trump be a good president? And it's when you start to realize like it might be that the ego is so big that it's almost this ironic, but who gives a shit what the end result is? It's this ironic, I want to be the best ever, so I'm going to sacrifice myself roundabout way, but it's still a good president, so fuck it, I'll take it. I think that there are people who are going out and they're very public and they're being attacked because of it. But I think there's probably probably maybe like a second or third tier person in whatever cabal it is that's running the world. And they're just going along, playing their part, and they're just as bad. But they're looking at all this and going, well, I'm number two, and Jim and Dave and Tom they're the Politburo, and they're running all of it. I'm documenting everything, and then when it is opportunistic, I am going to show all the people just how evil the guys in charge are, simply because I want to usurp you and I want to be in charge. But if you're a Nazi, you can sell out the other Nazis very easily by virtue of the fact that you've seen them do Nazi shit. So I think there's probably people that are up there. There's probably some patriots, but there's also some people that are just like, I'm just biding my time to drop all the chips so I can be in charge.
Well, there's other psychopaths.
It's about
other psychopaths.
It's also just about timing. Like when you take a shot at the king, you can't miss.
You cannot miss, and that's the other thing. Is if there are good people in the government, and wary that I sound like some QAnon shit, but if there are good, you can't fuck this up, man. This isn't a coup in Bolivia over a Coca-Cola plant. This is for all the marbles. This is top-down surveillance, digital currency, fucking Neuralink. This is Book of Revelation.
This is Minority Report with more Germans.
You cannot fucking miss. So if you're gonna take them down and you're looking at it, then might seem like a lifetime for us, 3 years of COVID. This could just be the opening shots in a fucking 10-year counter coup against the fucking Satanists who are fucking kids on Epstein's Island. Like, this might be a very slow war.
Yes. Guys, I used to play in college. I used to play one of the greatest games of all time. It's called Dune. It's a model of the Frank Herbert Dune. And I can tell you that in Dune, you take your shot. I bet
you're going to say hide the salami, but okay, go ahead.
Well, I did that too, but
that's what he does with the ghost.
But my wife is off camera. Yeah. So
right.
The in Dune and in games like that, you only get one or two opportunities in what could be an 8-hour game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
You get one or two opportunities to go for the win.
Yes.
And make
like
it
Monopoly.
stick.
Monopoly's the same way.
Well, in
Monopoly, Dune, you have to know when to go for the gold and when to build.
And
same thing.
And when you in an area control game like Dune, which is also models politics and hidden information and back dealing and taking guys into the back room and making alliances and then splitting them and backstabbing each other and all this shit that you're doing all day long. At some point, you're like, yeah, in about 3 turns, I'm going to have enough stuff. I'm going to have the right cards, and I'm going to make my move.
Yeah.
But it's still going to come down to I've got about a 75% chance of winning.
Yes.
Got this card or this or this. Yeah. I'm fucked, but I got to.
Everything's lining up, and you're going.
The stars have to align, and then boom.
Yeah.
Well, that's World War One. You just described World War One.
That's why there's a classic.
The Germans
game called Diplomacy, which
the Germans knew that they couldn't wait another. the Germans knew they couldn't wait another few years, and so they
Mhm.
had to. So when the Archduke got shot, the Austrians didn't give a shit because he was a douchebag,
Yeah.
and they weren't gonna head to war, and the Germans had to beg him to go to war, so that then they could jump in. Germany knew they would be not powerful enough just a couple of years later.
Well, how about this? Putin understood that he had to go first in February of 2022. He
I
couldn't wait
absolutely agree with that.
he
I
couldn't
absolutely agree
couldn't
with that.
wait for Ukraine to attack the Donbass, because had they waited for them to attack, he wouldn't have been able to marshal the forces necessary to actually combat that attack. He had to go first and put them on the defensive.
Right.
Mhm.
They put him in
Right.
that position. Like, dude, I've been, you know, I got many years of martial arts. You want to win a fight, go first. Anticipate the punch that's about to come and beat him to it, and then beat him to it,
Yeah.
so
The
that he
other
never
thing,
throws it.
the other thing, I got an email before the war started from someone I don't know who it is. It's in my email box somewhere. It said, "Are you aware that the Ukrainian Azov guys are amassing?" And at the time, I didn't know what to do with that information,
Mhm.
but I think Putin did.
Oh, absolutely, he knew it.
Right. He realized,
And
this
then-
is like, I got to go now because they're about to start slaughtering ethnic Russians in the Donbass. And
Absolutely.
whether
And-
it was to save ethnic Russians, I don't know.
But
Or whether
Zelensky
it's
goes
just
to the Munich
military.
security- But Zelensky 2 days earlier goes to the Munich Security Conference and asks for nuclear weapons. And Kamala Harris basically says, "Yes, we're going to give you a nuclear weapon." At that point, he don't have a choice.
So I had dinner with one of Wall Street's greatest minds. I don't want to name him because I don't
Jeffrey
want to be
Epstein.
affiliated with you whack jobs, but you'd know his name. And he had a couple interesting theories. One is he says Michelle Obama is going to jump into the presidential ring at the last minute. He says
Well, what
it's
else have
based
they
on,
got?
well, but he says
Except
not
Bobby
just-
Kennedy.
He
You
says
know, Bobby
they're
Kennedy, who might
no chance. Kennedy has no chance.
you might not think he has a chance, but I do think he has a chance to turn the party inside out and
Oh,
upside
I
down.
agree with that.
That I agree.
But they're not going to let him near the White House.
No.
Yeah.
Now, he said, and he says that's a hunch, but it's not based on nothing. The other thing he said, we talked about NVIDIA, and he almost broke into a cold sweat over NVIDIA. He said, "You do not short that beast. Period. And then, well, where was I going with this? He said, oh fuck, it was the main thing. Oh well, go on. I'll chime in when it comes back to me.
Dave just slowly succumbing to dementia.
Hey, let me
Yeah.
ask.
It was
Yeah,
about timing
yeah.
and Putin and the war.
Timing
and
Putin,
where we were
Azov,
going.
nuclear weapons, Kamala, got to go for it.
Tom,
He said he met Kamala. He said he almost has never met someone as stupid as her.
Wow.
He said you can talk to people who aren't getting what you're saying. He said Kamala, she was getting nothing.
no incoming signals.
Right.
Jesus.
It all just bounces off.
Well,
Wow.
then
That's
that's
right.
when you realize
That's
you're
right.
like,
Her
oh,
And you
receiver
get the
was
giggle.
broken.
yeah,
the
she's not in
cackle.
charge. That's the thing.
Cackle.
Hey, I want to ask Tom, Luongo, what do you, I've got the impression that basically Ukraine is pretty much done for now. They got no armaments left. Zelensky has been traipsing around outside of his own country.
His other thing, you just reminded me, his other thing was he said he doesn't think Zelensky's going back. He thinks Zelensky's world tour is actually an escape.
Yeah, I was just about to ask Tom if he thought that that was where this is going and whether that means that Ukraine's done.
I hope it. I hope it is, but I don't. But
No, it's
I
not.
don't. I can't. Guys, I don't underestimate these people and what they're
Right.
willing to put on the table is the problem. That everybody is making the moves as if this thing is going. They're strapping in for the long haul. They're strapping on the feed bags now to get. I mean, this is what they're doing.
Mhm.
Like, and I'd like to believe that, yeah, you've got one trained soldier out of every four, in the Ukrainian army right now, but that doesn't matter. Like, if NATO comes in hard, now the big question is, and these things that have happened recently, the Russians taking out the Patriots, for example, and whatnot. how much of that is the Russians getting valuable intel on what the Patriots are capable of? And making
Did you see that footage of the Patriots?
letting everybody on the American side know that we have figured out how to fight you. And therefore, if you get involved in this, this is going to suck. And the big bluff is that, I'm not willing to state categorically, because I don't know whether or not, we have the ability, we believe we still have the ability to fight, have gotten the same kind of counter intel on Russian armament and Russian EW and Russian radar and all this other stuff. My friend Alex Grainer firmly believes that the Americans are outclassed, that NATO is outclassed. I reserve.
Did you see the Patriot video where they unleashed like 40 in a row, rapid fire, and then the incoming took out the arms? So they literally shot, $200 million worth of Patriot missiles.
They shot their wad.
They shot their wad, and then you see this big explosion. And you're going, holy shit, they shot 40 Patriots trying to stop something, and it came in and killed them.
Yeah. And one of the missiles landed on and took out a car on the road. Yeah.
And then there was the drone strike on the Kremlin, which I swear was just a bottle rocket.
Yeah.
It was like that, maybe a Roman candle, I'm not sure. But there was a flag up there, and it didn't even knock down the flagpole.
I know.
And then you look carefully, and there were two guys walking up the ladder along on the dome of the Kremlin. And you're going, what is this, SNL skit? What the hell is this all about?
I don't want anybody. I just don't want anybody taking victory laps when these people are, when we know what we're up against. We know what we're fighting. We're fighting this impulse amongst the oligarchy going back 200 years with the British war against the Russians and against the heartland, and the idea that they, like Mackinder didn't say anything novel. All he did was codify what had been British foreign policy for nearly 100 years. Remember, the Brits fought 2 wars in Afghanistan in the 19th century. Second one ended in 1880, right? Charge of the Light Brigade is about Afghanistan.
And that works so well.
Right. And that works so well. Right. Exactly. And so, I mean, and I'm not the world's best historian here. Like I'm doing my best with the information that I've curated over the years. So, but the pattern of behavior is exactly the same. To them, Ukraine, Pakistan, Turkey, existential. If they lose all 3 of those, they have lost the entire world island. And that means they're going to lose Europe. They're going to lose the world. And look, they're not going to give up willingly. They're not going to go down without a fight. They're not going to go gently into that good night. They're just not.
I don't think there's any scenario where we don't do World War III. I mean, think about it. Absolutely crashing economies. You have absolute unrest. People hate the entire transsexual and gay movement down the middle, left versus right. No, everyone's angry. There's no jobs. The border's fucked. No one supports this war with Nazis. The only thing that everyone's still wondering about, all the vaccine injuries, the only thing that's going to get everyone to just shut the fuck up is going to be something brutal. It's going to be a massive war. Everyone's going to stop bitching. No one cares. It's going to be about rations. It's going to be about enlisting. It's going to be about being drafted. It's not good, but I think Tom's right. I think that's where it's going. Why else would you bring in all of these immigrants? Hey, you want?
I think Americans would
square meals.
Americans would just interpret that as an extension of their own government's war against them.
Of course,
which is what
I think we have a lot more of those people in this in scenario, Jim, certainly, than we've had in previous iterations.
I'm finding people listening to my wacky ideas and taking them more seriously than they used to. So, for example, I was venting to my wife about the elite pedophile ring, which I think does exist. I think something about Pizzagate is correct. I'm not sure.
Read the I'll email to you right now. Read the Franklin Scandal by Nick Bryan.
Okay.
It is 1,000%.
So I told my wife about it. And I think 2 years ago, she would have she would have got me an appointment with a psychiatrist, and her response instead was, "Oh my God, so there's no hope." And I go, "Well, you're supposed to question my sanity at this moment in the conversation." But I'm finding more and more people who are not anymore. And so if you can talk openly to people about the vaccine damage and all the bad ideas that came out in COVID, and no longer are you at risk of getting your face ripped off.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's
I don't run into
okay.
anyone who attacks me.
yeah. Yeah. It's not the fact that the most viewed episodes I do are with doctors talking about vaccine injury, and then these ones that we're doing right now. To me, that is a very bad canary in the coal mine of our national psyche, that the most people who watch my show want these episodes. That's unhinged, because these episodes are unhinged. But people are
Really?
open to it now. Well, people are open to it now.
Well, I think they're
they-
sore beset by fuckery, and they're
Yeah.
good and goddamn tired of it. And
Yes.
so much of it
Well,
is mystifying,
A
and they need to have it
great example
demystified.
of this is that I know that, Jim, you really hated conspiracy theories
I
in
didn't
your
hate them.
earlier.
I
Well,
was
but you
allergic to them.
defaulted. Okay, allergic. Okay,
Yeah.
that is, we're using a new language, but you really defaulted away from them.
Yes.
Your default was not to go to the conspiracy theory, and
Yeah,
now now your default is, if their lips are moving, they're lying.
yeah,
Pretty much.
kind of,
So-
pretty much,
And that's
pretty much.
and that's and that comes down to, dude, welcome to the ball club. Like, distrust but verify. Like, I mean, seriously, this is the way I go through life at this point. I just say distrust but verify, as opposed to trust but verify. Like, no, I think you're lying, but I'm going to leave myself open to the fact that you may not be. So you have the opportunity to prove to me that you are not completely full of shit.
Okay, well, let me.
And that is as close as I can come to not being black belt.
Let me start trying to disprove that by asking you what I think is an important question for today, which
Sure.
is, what do you think, and you, Dave, too, what do you guys think are going to be the consequences of this bad financial deal, this bad debt ceiling deal?
Well, World War III. That's it. That's the only way we're going to
Well,
launder.
let's
all of
not
it.
go immediately to the end game.
Three.
But
Yeah,
that's
just
that's
whack it
not.
out
That's
of the
what we've
park,
been
yeah.
doing for the last 50 years. It is
No,
absurd.
there's some
but-
intermediary things
Immediate,
happening.
immediate.
So
immediate.
between now and then, Dave,
I
you
tell you,
want
the best analysis I saw. My Twitter feed has added a couple of people who I want to do a shout out. And again, these guys could say, "Please don't mention my name. Please don't mention my name in this podcast." But I'm going to. One guy's name, and I might have even reached out to one or more of you. Tommy, I did, I think. Lee Slusher.
Now I've
Oh,
had him
yeah.
on.
Yeah,
Right.
I've been following him
Right.
around his Twitter.
Yeah.
Twitter.
I think he's
Lee.
great. The other one is Peter St. Ange.
Yep.
And he did an analysis of the debt ceiling debate, and it was just so lucid about
Right.
what was totally unachieved by that debate. Now, I have a theory on the debt ceiling debate
Yeah, what
and
is it?
debates like that. Well, anytime, think of it, it's exactly the same as when they voted no on bailouts, then 2 weeks later voted yes. During periods of protracted financial discussions, it's just a big fundraiser.
Right.
And so while you were discussing whether to do a bailout or discussing what to do with the debt ceiling, and that the money's being talked about, it's flowing into the Beltway from all interested parties. They go, "Well, we're just kind of on the edge. You dumped a little more money my way, So it's just a fundraiser. They were going to get there. Now, what's appalling is that McCarthy looked like he got. You got to watch the Peter St. Ange analysis of what McCarthy didn't get. And let me see if I can reiterate it. But first of all, they cut nothing.
Right.
They dealt with nothing. They pushed the debt ceiling debate back to the next one, back to January 2025, which means after the election, while they're on break. And he says, so he said McCarthy gave the entire thing away, which tells me that McCarthy is not a good person at all. He didn't even, but a person with somewhat of a spine would at least have gotten his party some sort of
Some
edge
token.
or something.
No.
Some token.
He literally rubbed our noses in and said,
Well, that gets
"I
back
have-
to the garishness. Yes,
I have the
exactly.
power."
This thing. Yeah. And,
No,
and,
no,
and,
Or
and
he's saying
the-
I'm transitioning.
Yeah, no, well, that
Yeah,
would,
I know.
that'd be
That's
okay.
right. I have to go feed the goats.
No, the sign of
No,
I'm
that's
transitioning is walking with
I
the,
can't do that one on. I can't do that one on camera. That's
you can do whatever you
uh,
want in the
yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm
no,
transitioning.
I think you're right, Dave. And the other thing to say is that, look, we have, and I'm going to make those.
You're putting your hands together. Watch it. Be careful. my
Listen,
friend.
guys, Tommy's podcast, we run the world, all right? Listen,
Then
it's
there's
stunning and
this way.
brave. Dye
there's
your
this
hair
way.
green,
So I gotta
get
actually
an
do that
AR,
one
and
now
walk
because
into
you're
an
on a marijuana,
elementary
right?
school.
Pussy hurts. Wait, pussy hurts. Okay. Sorry. So, no, I think that absolutely you're correct on this. It's McCarthy was put in power by these people after 14 votes to create this exact moment and then give them everything they wanted, push it off until 4 days before the electoral votes for the next bad election are going to be. Think about it. Think about when January 2nd is going to be, right? That's when the Electoral College is going to be going up to the Capitol Hill to ratify the election, which none of us have any faith in. Like, they're rubbing our noses. And
The garishness bothers me because in the old days, I used to try to get away with stuff.
right now they don't care.
Now, they not only don't care, but your model, which is I agree with, is by being garish. It's like when you were a kid and you said to your parents, why can't I do this? And they say, because I said so.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And it's their way of saying you do not have a vote in this one.
You don't have a vote in this one.
Okay,
don't
but what's
have a
the
vote.
consequence of
So
the
the
act
consequences.
itself?
So the consequence here is from a market perspective, and there are a couple of ways that look. And I'm going to is one, it stabilizes. It's actually going to be very interesting. One, gold is going to fly now, whether the dollar goes up or down, because now everybody knows, oh, look, bipartisanship, meaning fucking everybody, is in power on Capitol Hill. They're going to spend unbelievable amounts of money. The dollar is going to strengthen versus all other currencies, but it's going to fall against commodities, against real things. Inflation's coming back in the second half of this year. Powell's not going to back down. Okay. Going to continue QT. Going to probably continue raising interest rates in the second half of the year. Meaning they're going to go for all of this stuff, and it's only going to blow the budget out even harder. Oil is going to break to the upside because it's currently a broken market thanks to fuckery on the Brent crude contract. And we're going to have and the part of me actually thinks that this might actually not be as bad as it could look, as it currently looks, because you can't get all your war funding and then fight inflation at the same time. You can't fight inflation, fight oil prices, and fight a war at the same time, right? You can't do all three of those things. It's like ballistics. You can have pressure, accuracy, and velocity, but you can have two of the three, but you can't have all of them, right?
Right.
It's a triangle, right? So you have to pick in the physics of the problem. You got to pick two of three and hope that you can see. They can't fight inflation and keep oil prices under control and fight and gear up for war, right? And keep the dollar strong and keep gold down. It's like the same problem they had for years with, okay, we're at ZERP, so you can control gold through zero bound interest rates, but then eventually you can't, you even lose control of that because after 5 years of zero bound interest rates, gold bottomed and then we moved higher. So all of those things are going to become real in the economy and in the flow of global capital, which is going to then undermine so many of these policies that they think they have control over. I personally think that the risk moves now back to Europe. And then we see what happens. And if there's a sovereign debt crisis in Europe, don't think that the stock market is going back to 25 grand. The stock market's going crazy here in the United States because there will be a push into tangible assets that will light your fucking eyes on fire. Like, you want to see something like light your hair on fire? The rush into tangible assets now that they've done this deal, this way. That's how we beat that. Like a rush into tangible assets destroys everything they're trying to build. And it force Europe into a sovereign debt crisis and the CBDC, the digital euro, all of this stuff. So the consequence of this is going to be both an acceleration of their one aspect of their plan, but at the same time, an acceleration of all of the things that will undermine and unwind their plan. Because you can't have both of them all run the same way at the same speed, because you don't have everybody pulling in the same direction at the top of the oligarchy. Because I don't believe there's an omnipotent oligarchy. I believe there are a bunch of powerful factions doing their thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they're now all doing their thing, and they're pulling in along different vectors.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I see that.
It's what an NSA guy called a self-assembling oligarchy.
Right.
Yeah.
So
what about the political and social disorder that comes out of all that? That's kind of a joker in the deck, isn't it?
It's a lot. It's a big deal. I agree with you, Jim. And then you look at what happened in Spain this past weekend. Did you guys note the Spanish regional elections?
No.
Okay, the Spanish regional elections, the center-right parties like blew the doors off the regional elections all across Spain. And what was the response from Davos? The oligarchy, the guy who was in charge, who was put in charge to keep Spain under wraps after Catalonia's failed, after they violently put down Catalonia's independence movement. Pedro Sanchez dissolved parliament to go for a quick election, because he understood that the longer they waited for the next election was only going to get worse. He calls for new elections in July, national elections in July, before these regional governments can take power and start pulling money and start pulling power away from the central government in Spain.
Why doesn't he think that all the people in Spain won't vote exactly the same way as they did in their regional elections?
It's not that they won't. It's that he's trying to minimize the damage.
Well, what if he
at the
can't?
national level? That's what he's trying to do.
Doesn't sound likely.
The longer he waits, the worse it gets.
Yeah.
It's what they did. If you guys set the way, I remember when I first started to really understand the way how bad European parliamentary politics is, and it's fucking awful, by the way. I mean, no matter how much we bitch about our system here, our system sucks, but at least it's predictable. Okay? In Europe, we just have 6 fucking parties all get 12% of the vote, and then 4 of them who are all basically the same say, well, we'll just exclude the guys who are we'll just exclude the out crowd, and we'll just change who gets to be at the top of the same 4-party triumvirate, the same 4-party coalition. This year, it's the Greens get to be in charge. Next year, it gets to be the Socialists. The next year, it gets to be these guys, Labor or whomever. But it's always the same fucking circle jerk. In late 2017, right, as Lega in Italy was starting to rise quickly, Mattarella had the choice. The president had the choice of holding out until March to call elections, and he didn't. He called elections early because he was trying to blunt the rise of Lega, cap them at 15% or 17%. They still upside surprised. They were polling at 15. They got 17 or 18, and then saddle them with a unworkable coalition that they could blow apart at the seams once it was in power. It's the way these guys operate. Okay? Well, that's the same playbook that they're running. They're gonna try and run in Spain right now.
Mm-hmm.
Had they waited until March, Lega would have polled upwards of 25 or 27%, would have been the dominant player in the coalition between them and Five Star, and that coalition would have never blown apart. Italy would have been on a much different trajectory.
I have been laboring over wedging in a Dirty Sanchez joke and just not getting the window.
Sorry for that trip down.
I was waiting for you to tee it up for me, and I just said, I'm going. It's not coming. It's not coming.
So yeah, so the Dirty Sanchez here is that we're going to still wind up with fucking Tommy's in charge in Spain.
You do get the feeling.
But that's a desperation move.
One of the things that gave me this feeling is that our voting machines used to be controlled by Diebold, whose CEO was a right winger.
Yeah.
And then they became controlled by Dominion, whose CEO is a left winger, both of which were actually involved in the presidential campaign. And I'm going, why would you ever give up the power of owning the voting machines? And the answer would be
Because there's a video of you fucking a kid.
no, or because
It's blackmail.
you just trade it back and forth.
Yeah,
Right.
or it's no such thing as left versus right. It's they're just taking turns.
That's
Who takes
right.
the heat.
Now, the voting.
So,
I wanna talk
and
about
here's
I
the
wanna-
Dirty Sanchez
Tucker
joke.
Carlson.
Where the where the ones getting fucked.
Tucker
Yeah.
Carlson. We've in previous.
Yeah, we're
podcasts
arguing
talked
about the brand of condom they're using to rape us with. They're like, I like the Diebold rubber. Like, no,
Right.
I like the Dominion rubber. Meanwhile,
So-
your wrists are handcuffed to your ankles as there's just Klaus is just pounding you out.
It's like you're posing for a Tony Podesta artwork.
Yes, you're in, you're in Socrates. Worse, you're in Socrates' cave. The
Yeah.
chains aren't even fucking real, and you can't stop watching the fucking train wreck.
Yeah.
Well, they run the
I
trolley
know.
problem in front of you all day long.
Yeah.
To mix metaphors.
Yeah. Sorry, what were you saying,
sharpest-
Dave?
The sharpest bulb in the deck is my favorite.
Sharp as fucking. I've got the
So Tucker Carlson, I'm sure we have talked about how the hell did he keep his job, and now he has lost it.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm
But
just
there's
surprised he hasn't resurfaced really since
Well,
for 3 weeks.
That gets to the question of
he's not sure if he's
can they-
deleted
can-
every copy
can
of
they legal
Minot
can they
Fiends Island.
legally gag him? There's all sorts of questions surface. Can they legally gag him? Does he have the January 6 tapes or not? But the really interesting thing is, why did Fox settle? Because in the olden days, when Tommy was in pull-ups and the rest of us were heading for adult diapers, a media empire that got challenged by a lawsuit would have taken it to the Supreme Court and said, freedom of the press. Sorry, dude, you're not doing this to us. And Fox just folded. Now, here's how crazy the fold is, just in case 2 and 2 has not been put together by your viewing audience. I went to look up what the settlement did to Dominion's stock price and discovered that Dominion had gone private in 2018. How convenient. 2 years right before the 2020 election, the voting machine company, which, by the way, is now owned by a subsidiary of UBS. It's in Canada, owned by a subsidiary of UBS, which the primary owner is actually a company in Beijing. So our voting machines are owned by Beijing. Now, here's the problem. Dominion's revenues are online. There's some blurred out shit that makes me nervous because I'm going, why is that blurred out? Isn't that where they normally put the crotch and the dick in the Japanese porn flicks, right? I've read about it. But Dominion's revenues are 17, 18 million a year. So Dominion's damage. Now, if I went to buy a company, what would you pay for a company? 5 times revenues would be overpaying,
5 times
right?
EBITDA, 4 times EBITDA.
Well, let's do revenues because I just cited a revenue number, right?
Right.
You wouldn't pay Jamie. Scott McNeely said we were trading at 10 times revenues. What were they thinking? So a fair price is going to be some serious subset of that. The settlement was for 45 times revenues.
Yep.
Dominion could buy itself 10 times over with the settlement.
Mm-hmm.
The entire company 10 times over.
Yep.
So then the question is, what's it all about? Well, first and foremost, what I think will happen is that no money will change hands. Dominion wanted Tucker out. Fox wanted Tucker out. So they said, let's settle. We'll hash it out later. Let's have a headline settlement for an ungodly sum of money so that even the most avid MAGA Tucker supporting person could say, okay, I hate it. He's gone. But it's a lot of fucking money. And, at some point he was costing him, a lot, but this is sort of over the top. But I don't think they're going to get a penny out of it.
So they
I
just don't
money...
pay and no judge enforces the
That's
judgment.
right. By the way, during this
the whole lawsuit I really always thought was that Fox was basically suing itself. And in order to have the headline to get rid of Carlson when it was appropriate to then let everybody know that there will be no dissension during this election cycle. And
while I was digging into this, I started reading about bank settlements. And we all know how appalling it is that in bank misdeeds where someone should be strung up by their balls, hung off a bridge like Mussolini, they just fine the company, right? $1 billion here, $1 billion there, just take it out of the shareholders. What I found out was, I didn't know this actually, is that after those settlements occurred, there were behind the scenes deals where they said, by the way, if you guys don't want to pay the whole thing, if you donate this much to these PACs, we'll call it even.
Of course.
And so instead of a $2 billion settlement, it's $250 million into the DNC. And probably into the RNC, because those guys would bitch if they don't get their cut.
And then guess what happens?
Then
when election cycle comes around, everybody goes, oh, look, they gave money to these assholes and they're bad guys because they support the Democrats or whatever. And it was all friggin', lawfare, downstream of lawfare.
So the question is, was Tucker Carlson playing a role, or was he sincere? Same question could be asked about Elon Musk.
I think he's sincere. I honestly do. I think
you hope.
Yeah, I hope. Okay, but I think, and this is what I believe. I think that Carlson is sincere, and I do believe that the proof is in the fact that Fox canceled his show but did not terminate his contract. That is putting him in legal limbo to keep him on the sidelines. That is your tell.
That's good.
So they claimed that wasn't true, but then they said something about how, this sort of the bailout clause dictates it. And I go, but the bailout clause could say, if we keep paying you, we still own you, right? So we don't know what the contract says, so we don't know if he's gagged. Now, if he's gagged because he wants to collect the paycheck, that argument's bullshit.
No.
The reason is because he got offered more from several agencies to come to them
worth
right
more
away.
Than that. He's independently wealthy before he even got the job with Fox.
So he's not gagged because he wants that paycheck. He's gagged for some other reason. And if he doesn't surface, I am going to be despondent, because it means we got duped at some level.
Well, his dad was in the CIA.
So and I'll be honest with you, all he has to do is show back up and do a free show on Twitter.
Right.
Or he can,
but not monetized. And dude, it doesn't matter.
Therefore they don't own him.
Hit. What would it cost to what would it cost for him to self-produce Tucker Carlson Tonight on Twitter? $2 million a year?
So then the question is,
I do this shit.
He doesn't care. He doesn't. Right? No.
Yeah, really. Tommy could be his producer.
Professional research staff. Blah 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 blah. And
if he can get the three of us, why does he need Tucker?
Yeah.
I agree.
If Tucker really wants to, you know what, Tucker? If you want to show that you are not playing a role and that you really want to throw your career away, come on this goddamn podcast.
We're waiting for you.
Come here.
Dude,
and that's the
he's welcome on the Gold Ghosts and Guns podcast whenever.
Come make jokes about Greta Thunberg being a fetal alcohol syndrome riddled retard, and then I'll know you're a real one.
The other thing is, I had noticed, I didn't know what I was seeing. You keep getting me hot talking about goats and Greta Thunberg.
Hey man,
I thought I noticed Tucker was overtly hitting the third rail very aggressively in the last 6 months.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I agree.
It looked to me like he was. Yeah, that's right. He went after 9/11.
Yeah. He went after the Kennedy assassination.
Exactly.
He touched every third rail he could touch.
Yeah. The question is, why is that? Because in some sense,
pissed off.
Change of heart, consciousness,
or it could be they said, "Tee it up, dude, because we're gonna do you."
I think he just sensed it. I had dinner with him, I guess a year and a half ago now, maybe 2 years ago. It was a long dinner. I spent like 3 hours talking to him the night before I was on his show. He impressed me as being a very upright and sincere person. Just saying.
Okay. Or I tell you, he had a come to Jesus moment. I read his book, which was a composite of articles he'd written. Yeah. And he had a come to Jesus moment when he spent about a month in Iraq, and he realized it was just a complete farce. And I think that's when he really turned anti-war.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I remember the week he spent with Ron Paul on the campaign trail.
I don't remember that.
I do.
Yeah, I don't either.
And that was a big deal. That changed him sincerely as well. That was a big deal. Because, you know, when he saw what it really looked like to have somebody who was honest and sincere about this whole process. And, you know,
So I want to tell a touchy
strategic naivete of Ron Paul aside.
I want to tell a story about a brush with greatness that I've told Jim this. He knows it, but I'm going to tell it because you guys are here and it's a different crowd now. I cold called Jim by email and said, I'm having dinner with a hedge fund manager in Albany. You want to join us? And an ex-hedge fund manager. And Jim came. And we had a great dinner. And then we were going to have another dinner and Jim stiffed us.
No.
Last minute. Yes. Wait for it. He stiffed us. And so we had dinner by ourselves, and then we flipped on the TV and you were on Colbert.
Oh, yeah. Well.
And we're sitting there going, he stiffed us for Colbert? Come on.
My publisher sent me there. I had no idea that Colbert
But it was
would
so
turn
funny
into the
that
asshole that he turned into.
Oh, unbelievable bad.
I've always
I've never liked him. I've never liked him.
The
Stewart
only
was
time
fine.
Stephen Colbert was ever funny was when he was doing voice work on Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law. I'm dead serious. He was hilarious on that show. But that's when he was
horrid on his show. He's horrid
he's
on
not
his
funny.
show.
He's not funny.
Is he still doing it? And why doesn't he get fired if he still is?
Because
Because
he's a lefty. He's a lefty.
Because he is a very good
narrative guy.
Soldier.
I mean, after he did that vaccine dance. Oh my God. What a humiliating thing that was.
So how far, you know, that 7-minute montage of anti-vaxxers that a guy named Ophelia made, a guy named Orf, it's on Twitter. I thought it went viral as hell on Twitter. And it was just all the incredibly hateful comments made by powerful people about what a douchebag you are if you don't get vaccinated. It was, and all the lies, and it was the best montage of all of them. And Colbert did not do well in that montage, I'll tell you. He hit him hard.
Good.
So if you haven't seen it, you got to look it up. I mean, his name is Orf, @Orf, and if you go to his Twitter feed, you will find it. And it's just, I've posted about 5 times. I've watched it about 5 times. It's the best montage of what a bunch of douchebags were pushing that thing.
What Tom was saying earlier about the manila envelopes as it becomes a war of numbers. And it's just about, you know, until there's enough compromise on everyone else. Could it be something like that? Did someone approach Tucker and say, you're going to start covering these topics? There's a new sheriff in town, and it could be the quote unquote good guys.
Yeah.
I mean, if it seems so absurd, what else happened?
The thing is, I would say that it would, in the case of Tucker Carlson, it would be like, no, now you're free to talk about what you want.
Okay.
Well, it reminded me of Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard went hard right about a month or 2 before she formally bailed out the Republicans. You go, something's happened here. She's not even pretending to be left-wing now. She's complete right-wing talking points the whole way. My theory is that DeSantis has offered her the VP.
I don't think she's that cynical.
That's a deal. You're in politics. I don't think that's cynical. You've said that before, I think. I think I've said it before. I think that's just the way that world works. If you want to be in that
pragmatic.
world. Yeah, it's pragmatic. And I think you use that word too.
Well,
recycling.
The thing is, I don't think that DeSantis is a viable candidate at this point. I don't
either.
And that's fine. And I'm okay with it. I'd like for him to stay here in Florida where he belongs. So
Dave got sucked out of the universe.
No, I'm back here. I'm getting another mug of coffee.
He's putting.
But I'm still here.
He's putting in his butt.
There's a goat back here.
Hey, I got to go put my chickens away.
All right. It's
feed them before they go in.
It is getting towards that time, folks.
Yeah, I did tell Tom we'd wrap it up by 7.
So. And I mean, how can any listener, tolerate a whole lot more of this? Let's face it.
I enjoy it. This is
that makes 4 of us.
But
This is
makes
where I
four
like
of
let
us.
I let pent up just like intrusive thoughts. I just let it out when I'm normally talking to like a doctor or something, and in my mind I'm just like, I'm like, what if, I'm like, do you think Greta has fetal alcohol? You can't say that. With you guys, I just get to let it out. It's a safe space. I'm like, do you think that bitch is retarded? And you guys are like, maybe, yeah. No, these are very helpful therapy sessions. I let it all out.
I'm glad. I'm
Completely
happy
forgetting that
to
it's all
be-
recorded and broadcast. I just, I lie to myself and tell myself it's a secure, safe space.
Well, the other thing I've noticed, I've occasionally drop in on a doctor Zoom group that has all the anti-vaxxers in it. And what I notice is there's a ton of people who you put them on a Zoom call and it becomes therapy for them. And it's destructive as hell when you got a big crowd. The four of us can be therapists for each other and go wild. But when you got 100 people sitting on the Zoom call,
that's retarded.
and you all of a sudden are just venting about the vaccine being so dangerous. I'm going, there's not a fucking person on the Zoom call who doesn't know that. You don't have to tell us that. I don't want to hear about the Nuremberg Code.
Yeah.
I've heard about the Nuremberg Code, and I
Heard
don't
it
want to hear
all.
about a bioweapon, and you can
remember
just
who
sit
I-
there and
have
stew
you not
in your
watched the podcast
despair.
with me on? You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, you guys collectively know more than everyone on the fucking planet, and you're still venting at each other.
Yeah.
So but they bring in great people. Bobby Kennedy was on there and he was impressive. By the way, support Bobby Kennedy. Let's go there. I would love to see him have a run at that thing.
We're throwing a fundraiser for him on July 1st.
good for you.
I am a Reagan Republican Bobby Kennedy fan.
Yeah, he's a real deal.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I'm for just handing it over to. I'm not entirely sure AI hasn't taken over. I gotta be
Maybe
honest.
he's fake. Maybe he's fake.
No, I'm not talking about that. I mean, if the military is releasing that story yesterday, why did they do that? Why'd they release that story?
To entertain us.
Yes.
Unless it's AI. I think AI might be entertaining all of us as it's getting
Guys,
ready under the guise of World
every
War
day-
III.
Have you ever thought about whether you should just walk away from this shit? I mean, I don't think it's making any of us happier.
Oh, I'm having a blast. I know it's all
Well,
fucking.
I'm having a blast today, but the weekend that I deep dove satanic cults.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I do.
that's
I've
nasty.
Dave, interviewed the people
understand?
who recover the children from satanic cults. Like I've had so many red pills, I'm numb to it. So now I'm just laughing as the ship's going under. I don't care. I don't have kids. I don't have any. I'm fine. It's all over.
So, from my perspective, being kind of in the middle here, you got Jim and Dave who are the older ones. You got Tommy who's the younger one. You got me in my 50s. I every day I struggle with. I go from stem to stern. Some days I'm like, where's the SPF 50,000 sunblock in the box of cigars and the bottle of whiskey?
Yeah.
What do you need, Tom? A glass of whiskey, a gun, and 2 bullets.
Yeah.
And then on the other days of the week, to quote John Sheridan, on the other days of the week, I'm like, nah, everything's gonna be okay. It's just a cycle of history. We'll get through it. We'll keep prepping the daughter for the right, to just have the right attitude towards it, and we'll do the thing. That's what it's going to feel like for the next 10 years.
No, it's gonna feel. That's what it feels like.
We're rubbernecking an 80 car pileup.
Yeah.
But I used to think of it as reading and writing about you.
Sorry, go ahead.
I used to think of it as reading and writing about human folly, but I always had this sense that if it got outed, that it achieved something.
Yeah.
Right.
But it wasn't that long ago that I said I developed the phrase "so what." So what? The laptop's real. So what?
Yeah.
Biden raped Tara Reid or whatever her name is.
Doesn't
so
matter.
What? Clinton offed 160 people. So
Doesn't
what?
matter.
Tony Podesta's got an art collection that's the most perverted shit. You're going, I'm going to get arrested for Googling this fucking thing.
Yeah.
Right.
And if the listeners haven't searched Tony Podesta art collection and
The
scroll
Arch of
down a ways,
Hysteria. Yeah.
and they've cleaned it up. What you're seeing is the cleaned up version. It's the sickest shit you've ever seen. So what? He's still a functional lobbyist with a brother who's still powerful. And Pizzagate's probably real in some way.
Yeah.
And one of the documentaries I watched was about Pizzagate and how the whole system works. I'm going, holy shit.
Yeah.
Right. So
And
to
so
put
what?
a wrapper on this. So what? I just watch this every day, and I'm like, every day Philip K. Dick was right about everything.
And this is
And I'm dead serious. And I mean the schizophrenia, the ennui, the male, the ennui of the entire male population not being able to function, like all of it. I'm not talking just, the Matrix level shit, like, I'm not talking about, I'm talking about all of it. I mean, I'm getting to the point now where I'm expecting my appliances to ask for tips.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And when that fucking happens, I'm beating them all with a baseball bat.
Yeah. Well,
I will have become
to you.
so chip, and one day I will not be allowed out of my apartment for not tipping my door.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no,
that's the world they want for us. And it was absurdist in 1969 when he published Ubik. And today, it's in reality.
Dennis Prager, 2019. I just watched this the other day. 2019, he's on Bill Maher and his panel of wackadoodles, which can be very entertaining sometimes. Prager is saying in 2019, gender is going to be the hot topic. Now, I didn't know that it wasn't a hot topic in 2019. That's just a couple of years ago. He says it's going to be the hot topic, and they're all laughing at him. And Maher says, "What the fuck are you talking about?" He says, Prager says, there are guys out there. There are guys out there who are saying that men can menstruate, and that women can have penises, and the whole group is laughing their ass off, going, "What kind of fucking nut jobs are saying this shit? What are you talking about?" And Prager just sucking up the pain and suffering, saying this, and here we are. What, 4 years later? 4 years, it became totally mainstream.
We got to wrap this up.
We went from people who are how do we have sympathy for people who are transsexual,
right,
to we need gender neutral bathrooms, and we did that shit in 18 months.
Yeah.
To you're told you're a phobic if you oppose the idea that your teenage daughter can go get a double mastectomy without you signing off. So here's my opinion. I have a teenage daughter who's 15, and she goes to one of these sort of underage transgender things, and she comes back without her breasts. I'm locking and loading.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no way. I don't know if I'd have the
What
balls
did I
to
say
do it.
about the guys going to the business offices of the hospitals?
That's the point. Why?
Yeah.
There's a guy who, one of the podcasts I listened to was a guy who was out on bail, couldn't move. His daughter, they wanted to do all the hormone injection shit. He wouldn't let him do it. He got thrown in jail in Canada for this, and they did it.
Yeah.
Now I'm going, that guy, I'm on that jury. That jury's getting hung by me. There is no chance in the world, if he goes and takes out that doctor, that I'm convicting that guy.
Yeah.
There's
that
no
guy
chance.
They will never let that case go to a real jury.
That's the problem. Especially grand juries are the most rigged goddamn things on the planet.
Well, yeah, let's not even get started on that, because that would be another hour. So,
right.
folks,
Yeah.
as always,
Yeah. Well,
I love doing these. I love just catching up with Jim and Dave, because it's just the best. It's just the best time. And
pleasure.
To what you said, Tom, about choosing between a bullet and whiskey, or it's all going to be all right. This is my logic, and it's what got me through several years of crippling depression. Is this? You get to die anyway, so why the fuck take it out? Just ride this bitch, good or bad. It's all ending eventually. Might as well see the fucking clown show for what this is. Guys, go into the description.
Coming to that conclusion.
Yeah, guys, please go into the description. Follow them all on Twitter. Follow Dave. You guys can go jerk off to that weird synthesis of Greta and David Hogg, and I don't know, get some social justice points. That's all I have with this. I don't fucking know. Dave and everybody, read The Franklin Scandal by Nick Bryant, and you'll realize just how true Pizzagate really is. If you aren't black-pilled yet,
Is that a blog or is that a book?
It's a book. And this ruined this guy's career. I emailed it to you.
Oh, you
well,
did?
good night, everybody.
Yes. So with that, guys,
always
satanic
fun.
pedophilia is real, and we're going to World War III. And with that, everybody, have a wonderful weekend.